every Mario game is just about the same. You go through the same damn worlds. Grassland, desert, snow, lava, and you save the princess. Some games may have one or two unique themes, but largely, Nintendo doesn't like to stray away from their formula. And then Sonic fans think they have it bad with 2 million versions of Green Hill Zone out there. So, being the contrarian asshole that I am, I figured I'll fix it myself. So, today we're making a reverse Mario game, starting in a lava world and making our way to the evil grassland, where we will find the princess. Do I have any reason to do this? No, I do not. Let's get started. Since this is a Mario clone, I had to go with a 2D art style and, well, this is my first time really doing pixel art. I've made a little bit of pixel art before in a Game Jam game, but we don't like to talk about that. So, starting off with some ground tiles, covered in white ashes of course, and figuring out how exactly the tile map systems in Unity work. That took me quite a while to figure out, but now that I have it set up, damn do I love this tile map system. It makes drawing up a quick rough level so ridiculously fast and easy. Next, in order to play the game, I really needed a character. While this is a reverse Mario, I wanted to give it my own spin. I also don't want Nintendo to sue the ever-living hell out of me, so there's that. He's not great, the walking animation is a bit meh, and the transition between the front view and the side view also doesn't look great. So I might have to get rid of the front view, even though it is the best looking sprite. Anyway, I took my movement script from the previous video in which I learned to use Unity. I had modified that a bit with my Game Jam game, but it needed some serious refactoring at this point, so I rewrote big parts of it, and now I have a much better controlling, less buggy version of my character controller, with adjustable coyote time coded in as well. Today was a good day. I also created a quick background for my lava level, sticking with ominous purple skies and orange colored clouds. I honestly just looked at a screenshot from one of the last worlds of a new Super Mario Bros. Game and tried to stick close-ish to that. In Unity, I added some particles. At first, I made the emitter as long as the whole ass level. Turns out that spawns way too many particles, and I had to settle for an emitter that's just about the width of the screen and moves along with the player. Long story short, we also have ash falling down to really sell the volcanic theme of this world, which still needs volcanoes. I won't lie, out of everything in this project, this is what scares me the most. Making a decent looking volcano just seems like it'll be really difficult. I have good confidence in my ability to make snowy mountains, pyramids and green hills, all for the other worlds, but the volcano? That's a lot more detail, and it also is going to need to be animated. With this being my first time making a proper 2D game, I figured maybe let's leave that for last and first gain a little bit more experience making all the other sprites. So I moved on to making the actual level. The general level creation isn't that exciting really. I needed to keep things simple. While this world might have the spooky looking lava world tile set, it also is the first level of this game, and I'm only reversing themes here, not difficulty curve. So things you'd see in this world in a normal Mario game, like volcanic debris falling from the sky, are a no-go in this project. That brings us to level design though. Since we're making a Mario game, I wanted to stick close to the way Mario levels are generally designed. That being, one mechanic the level is themed around. It introduces, develops and tests the player with this new mechanic before disregarding it entirely and coming up with a new mechanic for the next level. Coding these unique mechanics of course makes every single level quite a lot of work. So I'm going to, at least for the time being, limit myself to one level per world. World 1. In the lava world we won't have any special mechanics. The player will just be able to get used to the controls and learn about moving platforms and basic enemies. World 2. The ice world will take place inside of a frozen cave with icicles hanging from the ceiling. When the player gets too close to them, they wiggle and fall down. Trying to avoid these at first won't be that hard. There's no slippery ice physics here, mostly because I hate that. The difficulty comes with the auto-scrolling section. These platforms only move while you're standing on them. So you'll have to trigger the icicle, jump on the platform to make it stop moving, and then land on the platform to keep moving on. World 3. The desert world. Here I wanted to do something with the sun. And while, like I said, I won't have volcanic debris falling from the sky in the lava world, we're in the second to last level right now. So I think it's fair game to have fireballs raining from the sky here, with moving platforms that you then can hide under. On top of that, since that by itself doesn't really feel like a level filling mechanic, we'll also add a new enemy, one that jumps around randomly. At the end of the level, those two mechanics will get combined for a, honestly, rather hell-like experience. World number 4, now we're at the grassland world. Since we're the bad guy trying to steal the princess in this game, it only makes sense that the obstacles in this world are themed around the kingdom's defenses. So there should be a lot of bullet firing obstacles along with some normal enemies, maybe. Well, with the first level being completed without too much trouble, making the second one wasn't too much trouble either. I made the icicle sprites, which I'm actually pretty happy with the animation for. The actual sprite and shading could use a little bit of work, but it'll do for now. Making it drop down and behave the way I needed to was surprisingly easy, barely an inconvenience. And that was the whole level gimmick. I already had the platform code written from a previous project, so I guess with this much time saved, I should really just start working at the sprites for the enemies. Since we're doing a reverse Mario game, I wanted to have Toad as an enemy. Then I looked at my player characters and decided, you know what, let's avoid humanoid shapes for a little while. So I went for a mushroom with feet, kind of like the Mushroom Kingdom equivalent of a Goomba. I actually think it came out pretty well. Now, level 3. I needed to create some mechanics for this one from scratch. I started with a new enemy, also based on a Mario enemy, the little fireball that'll jump around, leaving a trail that you have to avoid. This one gave me a little bit of trouble at first, but after giving it a few hours of messing about, I had a system where I'd have a number of enemies between two barriers, which I'll always stay between. If they get too close to one of them, they'll just jump in the opposite direction, and if they're not close to either barrier, they just jump into a random direction. Every enemy has individual controls on how far they can jump, what their minimum and maximum jump times are, and well, that's a task done. Now, the fireball rain. At first I wanted to make a system similar to the jumping enemy, where I give it 2 points, a left point and a right point, and it would just randomly spawn fireballs in between and rain them down. I had a good idea about the frequency of spawns being influenced by the distance between the 2 points, so it would be roughly equal no matter how far apart the 2 points are. But I didn't even end up making a start on that system, as it was pretty late at night and I needed some sleep to actually put it all together. The next day after waking up, I realized what a horrible idea that would have actually been. I have some platforms overhead that you can hide under as the fireballs rain down, but that's a static level design element, so it wouldn't really work all that well. I would have had to do the fire raining down in waves, with large open areas and checkpoints that are covered in between, which didn't really fit my idea of combining it with the enemies at the end of the level. So instead I made something much simpler. A script that will just spawn fireballs, and instead of having safe spaces being static, those now move around so that you have to keep walking to remain under these platforms, which just works much better. Maybe if I end up adding coins at some point, I'll put some on top so there's a little bit of risk versus reward there. Or maybe a power-up could go there if I could be bothered programming in power-ups. This leaves us with just one level. The dreaded, the dangerous World 1-1, the grasslands. For this my idea was to lean on bullet launchers. Maybe in part due to me having a trip down the rabbit hole that is Mario Maker, but I also already had a script that would spawn in bullets, just ready to use. And after a few short tweaks, those bullet launchers can be used in so many fun and creative ways. The theme of this level, short as it might be, is to ride the bullets across bottomless pits. So you'll bounce from one bullet to the next, to the next, to the next, having to move across moving targets until you get to land on the next piece of land. Yeah, it's the last level for a reason. I tried to hold back on the difficulty to a reasonable degree though, hence the short length of the level. I think with a lack of checkpoints in this game, the average player will probably take long enough, so adding even more stuff into this that people could die from seemed like overkill. At least for the time being. Oh, and you might have noticed that these aren't bullet bills, these are bullet toads. Because once I commit to a bit, I just can't let it go. With that, all that I needed to do is finish up some more art for the background, Add some boring mechanics like death when you jump into a pit, a level loading screen, even though the levels themselves load instantly, that sort of thing. And there we have it, 4 short worlds in reverse order. I honestly had a lot of fun making this silly little game, and who knows, maybe one day I'll pick it up again and improve something, add some much needed polish, and add some more levels and worlds. But for now, this is Reverse Mario, or legally save, your princess is in another castle.